The Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise has presented its economic review for 2022 and an agenda for 2023. The review focuses on 4 key macroeconomic variables: inflation, foreign exchange, GDP growth, fiscal operations, and our final, CEO or director for the year, joining us to discuss is Dr. Muda Yusuf, the director of the CPPE. You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you.
You are our last executive for the for the year.
Compliments.
Compliments to you, sir.
Yes.
So, where do we start? We went through your review for the year. So, what's the agenda going forward as far as inflation, foreign exchange, GDP growth, all those metrics?
Well, it has been a very tough year.
Yeah.
And we must congratulate all the businesses that made it up to this point.
Yes.
And also the citizens as well.
Yes.
Because if you look at all the key macroeconomic variables, they have been most unfavorable.
Yeah.
And some of the experiences we had, we haven't had such experiences in a long time.
Yeah.
If you look at inflation, for instance, even though we have inflation, latest figure at 21.47, the experience and the reality that people faced was that you should be talking of inflation of between 50 to 100%. It is really that bad.
We've talked about, yes.
Yeah, it's really that bad.
Yeah.
Because, the official figures put so much into the baskets, even articles or items that are not so important.
Yeah.
But if you look at the basic things that matter to either the individuals in terms of their welfare and the citizens, you will see that we are talking of a very, very high inflation. We're talking about hyperinflation.
Yeah.
And just as the World Bank said,
yes,
the inflationary situation pushed 5 million people into poverty.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, the people that went into poverty will be much more than that. It was really bad.
Yeah.
And of course, nothing new about the key factors that have led to inflation. These are factors that we have talked about over and over. Factor of foreign exchange depreciation, the issues with the energy costs, diesel and all of them, gas and so on. Challenges around the ways and means. You can see the kind of debate and controversy that the ways and means is now generating. I'm surprised that it took the National Assembly this long to begin to intervene in such a very critical matter.
Right. Exactly.
Whether to now convert to bond or not. I mean, they had to go into a closed-door session to be able to discuss it and now postpone the debate on it. Then, of course, issues of insecurity, transportation costs, all of these factors contributed largely. Of course, there are also external factors: Ukraine war, commodity prices, the lingering effects of the pandemic, and so on. Then, of course, we have, the forex issue, which is the biggest issue. It's one of the most challenging policy instruments that affected businesses in 2022. Despite all the advocacy to the CBN, from the World Bank, from citizens, from economists, for the CBN to tweak its foreign exchange policy, the CBN did not yield to that, and the economy actually suffered greatly for it. The only key beneficiaries of the foreign exchange regime were those who are doing round tripping. Yes. Those who are moving currency from one point to the other. Those were the main beneficiaries. All other key operators in the economy were victims of the foreign exchange policy. We saw the wide margin, we saw the illiquidity in the market, and we saw the very embarrassing situation with airlines that cannot, take their funds out. Embarrassing situation with foreign investors, because these things has very significant reputational effects on the economy. So the foreign exchange environment was one of the most challenging. People have to be going to parallel markets, all sorts of regulatory issues. Some people are even being chased by EFCC. That why did you go to parallel market? Where did you get the foreign? All sorts of terrible things. And even some multinationals, suffered greatly for it. Because they couldn't play, because there are a lot of pranks, a lot of corruption, a lot of under-the-table transactions, which they could not take part in. And it's through some of them, through their accounts into a loss for the year. So it was really bad. So going forward, I'm hoping that we'll be able to, put it top on the agenda for the next administration.
Yeah.
Reforming the foreign exchange market.
Yeah.
That is very key. Because one of the biggest issues we have had in 2022 has to do with subsidy.
Yeah, that's right.
And 3 components of subsidy.
Yeah.
This foreign exchange thing we are discussing is a subsidy problem. Because there's a big subsidy there, and anywhere there is subsidy, corruption follows.
Yeah.
Then we have the subsidy in the petroleum sector,
Never ending.
which is a major issue, and you can see all the crisis, fuel queues and all of that. All of these things are part of the subsidy management problem in that sector. For as long as we have that subsidy, apart from the issue of corruption, apart from the issue of the burden on the fiscal operations, it's affecting the whole production process, the supply chain. It's more important, it's affecting investments in that sector. You can't get investors into refineries, you can't get investors into pipelines, trucking, marketing, practically all the key foreign investors have left the sector. So it's a key issue, because if you don't remove these subsidies, they continue to cause distortions in the economy and make it difficult for the economy to progress. The another subsidy area that we need to watch out for is electricity. No, granted, there were issues around the privatization and all of that, but pricing is also key. If you want investment in any sector, pricing is critical.
Cost reflective.
Pricing is very critical. And you need investment to grow an economy. You need investment to create jobs. You need investment to alleviate poverty. So if you don't create the environment for investment to grow, or for existing investors to be able to thrive, there's no way we can make progress in the economy. No matter how much we do about intervention funds or all of these programs, they will not work. The fundamentals that will support investment has to be in place. We have macroeconomic fundamentals, some of which we have discussed. We have structural issues, which are also fundamental. We have regulatory issues, which are also very fundamental. So the focus should be on that going forward, so that we create the environment for these things to happen.
I quickly want to get your thoughts on the Finance Bill 2022. What do you make of
the finance bill? Something very disturbing happened. Now, for such an important bill, because the bill is imposing 0.5% levy on all imports coming from outside of Africa. The bill is now, as we have seen, has moved tertiary education tax tax rates
2%, right?
From 2.5% to 3%.
3%, right?
Then there are also issues about excise duty, excise tax on a wide range of services. These are fundamental things that can change.
But Dr. Yusuf, we need revenue. So
we need revenue.
We need the money.
Yes, we need the money, but you cannot overtax investment. Go to other clients. Corporate tax in Nigeria is one of the highest. The global average of corporate tax is around 27%. Go to Europe, go to all these advanced economies that we aspire to be like. They don't have any country where corporate tax is as high as 30%. So in addition to this 30%, you now have this 3% tertiary education tax. You have something for police trust fund, also on companies. You have something for the NITDA, 1%. You have something for national engineering, something and technology, another 1%. If you pipe too much pressure on investment,
you drive it away.
You drive them away, and the economy cannot recover. If you want money, go after people who are billionaires who don't have offices. They don't have factories. They are flying private jets. Reform the subsidy regime. So look at things. Even if you look at the national tax policy, part of the major cardinal objective of the policy is that you should tax less those who are investing, reduce direct tax, and focus more on indirect tax. Because if you are focusing on indirect tax, all these informal sector people that normally you cannot capture in the direct tax, you can capture them in the indirect tax. What we are having now is that the small proportion of players in the formal sector
are being overburdened.
They are overburdened, whether they are investors or they are employees. They are the one carrying the burden of the entire economy in terms of taxation. That is not good enough. You also have 1% NYSE tax That one is awaiting the assent of the president.
Should NYC be scrapped? Do you support NYC?
No, I'm not saying it should be scrapped, but we should not put the burden of funding it again on investors.
Gotcha.
We have under 1% tertiary health tax. 1%. That is also being discussed. So the president should please not leave a legacy of heavy burden of taxation on business. We don't want to remember him for putting too much pressure on the private sector.
Dr. Muda Yusuf, Director of the CPPE, I want to have you more in 2023. We need your analysis next year.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.